Surprising update to the Helldivers 2 controversy. We have an update from the community manager. Yeah, the same spits that made everyone mad yesterday, now getting some support. So let's see what is going on. Internal discussions are ongoing about the mandatory linking change. While I can't reveal the details, response from our dev team has been universally negative, and we're looking for better options. So putting some hope on the horizon. If a better solution isn't provided for players who are in regions without PSN coverage, I'm assured that we won't be making the requirement mandatory for those players. So as it usually goes, a midwit finds a gotcha, all the NPCs pile on, and then they think they're in the right when really they don't know the full story. We're not going to force people to either break Sony TOS or not play the game. This is a good thing, but once again, the information to need a PSN account was not hidden or a secret. We have discussions going back to February on the Helldivers 2 Steam page. PSN account required. Hey, the story so far says I need a PSN account in order to play the game. I don't have an account. Can someone tell me if I need to make a PSN account or not? Look at this. February 6th, 3:16 p.m. 3:17 p.m. 1 minute, immediately, this information was so accessible and well known to the core Helldivers audience, the answer was immediate. Yes, you need a PSN account. 1 minute later, you will need one. Just go to the website, it takes under a minute. So months ago, this person had the current situation already filled out. It will be required at some point. Just make an account, and then that's what Spit said, and then everything kind of got crazy. But also, people had their problems with Sony back then, and it didn't blow up. Online for a single-player game, so thanks Sony for me to save my money. Time to buy another game. I love this. It's not an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. So we have the community defending, like, okay, so if you don't want a PSN account, don't make one, don't play the game, whatever. But you will need one. Everyone still kind of knew that. And then we have people that have no interest playing the game jumping in on discussion. Like what's happening now. Usually it takes more time for history to be forgotten and then repeat itself, but this was only 3 months, and it seems like people didn't have problems with it. And now we can see this. I want the game. What happened with downvotes? This just seems like some kind of engagement farming or something, because like you just Google it, or you go on Twitter, or you find any kind of news. It's the biggest gaming story right now. You require a PlayStation Network account to even play the game, which you can make one online if your country allows the service, which a lot don't, which is why the downvotes are happening. Also, the one about countries has been used in a really bad faith way, because people are like, but most of the countries in the world don't even have PSN. It's only 69 out of the 190 that support it. Yeah, but that's not going to account for a majority of the world's population, so this is a very niche outlier case. And, you know, if I'm a dev, I'm not planning, like if I'm a dev, and it's fairly well understood that you will need a PSN account, and this is what happens like when PC players get their console exclusives ported over to Steam. The entitlement is something the devs can't account for and they don't want to deal with, because devs aren't going to expect people to throw away their money on a game that they won't be able to play into the future. However, it's going to be a very small amount of cases. A couple % of players are going to be affected by this, which means it's going to be an outlier situation, which means it's going to need like special aftercare when all of this blows up and what happens. So yeah, like worst case scenario, you expect the devs to actually have some kind of plan for this. Either that they will allow no questions asked refunds for those regions, some kind of support care, or they're just not going to need it enabled for those regions. Like, it's not hard. And the thing about discussions like this is that it debunks a lot of lies. I've been seeing comments like this. There was no indication that they were suspending the mandatory account creation and linking at launch over technical issues. I couldn't find any announcement about it. Now, I haven't seen an announcement, but the weird thing is, like, when a game gets this popular, it's just people bandwagoning and jumping on because it's the new flavor of the month game, but they don't know about, like, the development history. They weren't pre-launch people that had, like, all the information. They're just immediately dropping their money because someone else told them to or their friends told them to buy it. But again, on the Steam page, it said you might need to link a third-party account, and the real ones, the OGs of the game, already knew this going in, so weird stuff and reasons behind that. However, that change, Steam announcement, and the FAQ are all coming from Sony and not our team at Arrowhead Studios. So, I mean, like, that's also another weird thing. People are, like, there's different reasons people are grasping at, and they go, well, Arrowhead Studios is still in the wrong for working with the devil, Sony. I mean, an indie studio, especially if it's going to be like an indie studio publishing on a console, you're going to need a publisher, and Sony on the PlayStation 5. So now that means every dev that's published on the PlayStation 5 is evil or done cross-platforming or had, like, anything else. Like, yeah, sure, indie developers can launch independently. That's what indie needs, but having a major publisher helps a lot, especially if someone like Nintendo comes in, or if you don't expect the success of your game. You're not going to expect millions of copies in sales or making, you know, hundreds of thousands of concurrent players. So if the publisher says, like, hey, we can offer you this deal, and it's going to make up for a lot of development costs, and you can keep afloat for a bit, or maybe get that little extra push from the just size of the developers, you got to take that deal. Also, the developers already had Sony exclusivity with Helldivers 1. So again, like, the easy information doesn't add up here, but Spitz did apologize, because he just said, yo, just make a PSN account, bro, it doesn't take any time. He's completely unaware how many countries didn't have the ability to make a PSN account when I made that statement. I deeply regret implying that it was so easy for everyone just to sign up and not have to worry about it. Not our intention to force people to break Sony TOS or just not play the game if they're in a restricted region. There needs to be a better solution. So once this became apparent, yeah, the devs are like, okay, we gotta do something about this. But then it also shows, like, this is not directed at anyone else. This is only directed at the people that cannot make a PSN account. Everyone else still falls under the just make an account, bro. And that's also reasonable, again, because of the sheer amount of people that already have a PSN account and the well-known requirement going in. Players making their displeasure known through reviews, refunds, give us more pull in discussions with Sony. Which could also be, like, going back is like, hey, just complain where it matters. And that mostly comes off as, like, dismissive or sarcastic. Like, yeah, you know, we've already sold millions of copies and still have 100,000 concurrent players. Your review is going to matter, bro. Especially, like, when it's a review bomb like that. Reasonable people are going to look at it and go, something might be up, and I need to actually see if this is a problem for me or not. Because if you already have a PSN account and you want to play Helldivers 2, none of this affects you. And you're just going to buy the game anyways. So that's another weird thing about these kinds of boycotts. But yeah, the more pull and discussion with Sony, they don't read our Discord. Hurts to see the game's popularity suffer in ratings. Discussions are ongoing. Our team is on the side of the players in this fight. Unrealistic to make PSN for different regions to get past the account linking requirement. We're aware of that. Discussions are ongoing. So that's it. That's all they care about. They only care about the affected region players. Everyone else is just kind of crazy. And that's our current situation. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.